Kevin MacLeod is with me this morning, the Canadian Secretary to the Queen. He's in Ottawa, and great to see you on this day, Kevin. Good morning and welcome back to the program.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you, Heather.
Well, look at those pictures again, seeing the Queen, bright turquoise, looking hale and hearty, and very healthy on this day. Many people there to greet her, holding flowers, of course, as she gets set to board this steam train. Your overall thoughts and reflections on this milestone day, Kevin?
I just reflect on the life of a most remarkable woman. Your viewers will realize, Heather, that she's been with us for so many years. At the wonderful age of 89, she's going strong. But when one stops to reflect on the fact that her first Governor General was Viscount Alexander of Tunis, she's had 12, and her first Prime Minister was Louis Saint Laurent. Now, this sounds like ancient history to many of your viewers, I suspect. But here is a woman who's not only seen history, she's made history, and she's been with us for all those years. And it's just unthinkable not to have her with us. So she will be with us for many years. But I hasten to add that this is a great day of celebration right across the Commonwealth. But there's a difference between how Canadians are looking at it and the British.
How
because
so?
You're quite right. She is the longest reigning sovereign in British history. But that's not the same here in Canada. You see, in Canada, we regard the sovereigns of England, Scotland, Great Britain, the United Kingdom, and France as the sovereigns of Canada. So King Louis XIV is actually the longest reigning sovereign of Canada. He reigned for 72 years. But I hasten to add that your viewers should mark their calendars. May 27th, 2024 is the day that Queen Elizabeth will surpass the reign of Louis XIV. And we all very much look forward to that celebration.
The way she's looking today at 89, she could very well do just that.
We certainly hope so.
So many aspects of this long reign we could talk about in terms of legacy, but let's focus on the Canadian parts of that. The Commonwealth itself, Kevin, no longer part of the, is no longer the empire of Queen Victoria's day, but the Commonwealth. When she took over, when she began her reign, 8 countries at the time, now it's 53. And she's often spoken of the Commonwealth, has she not, as one of, if not the proudest part of her legacy.
Absolutely. She holds the Commonwealth very near and dear, and her work in the Commonwealth is a force for good on the international stage. And her work, for example, in encouraging other Commonwealth nations to bring an end to apartheid. She was central to that key initiative. So her influence behind the scenes is very, very pivotal, and one should not underestimate her power of influence.
Kevin, can we just interrupt our conversation for a moment? I'm going to take people back into Westminster now live, the British House of Parliament, an hour of commemoration and speeches in tribute to the Queen, beginning with the Prime Minister, David Cameron. So if you could just stay there, we'll listen together to David Cameron. Here he is live.
To comprehend the scale of service that Her Majesty the Queen has given this country. Mr. Speaker, the reign of Queen Elizabeth has been a golden thread running through 3 post-war generations. And she's presided over more than 2/3 of our history as a full democracy, with everyone being able to vote. When I was born, Her Majesty had already been reigning for 14 years. When the father of this House, our longest-serving member, was first elected to this chamber, Her Majesty had already been Queen for 18 years. In 63 years and 216 days, she's worked with 12 Prime Ministers, 6 Archbishops of Canterbury, 9 Cabinet Secretaries. She's answered 3.5 million pieces of correspondence, sent over 100,000 telegrams to centenarians across the Commonwealth, and met more people than any other monarch in history. And yet, Mr. Speaker, whether it is something we suspect she enjoys, like the Highland Games, or something we suspect she might be slightly less keen on, such as spending New Year's Eve in the Millennium Dome, she never, ever falters. Her selfless sense of service and duty have earned her unparalleled respect and admiration, not only in Britain, but around the world. Turning to her leadership, Her Majesty exemplifies the unique combination of tradition and progress that has come to define us as a nation. She's been a rock of stability in an era in which our country has changed so much, providing an enduring focal point for all her people. But she has also recognized the need to embrace change. As she said in an address to both Houses of Parliament back on her Golden Jubilee in 2002, "For if a jubilee becomes a moment to define an age, then for me we must speak of change. Change has become a constant. Managing it has become an expanding discipline. The way we embrace it defines our future. Her Majesty's contribution to shaping the future of the Commonwealth has been particularly extraordinary.
So let's leave that to Kevin MacLeod. David Cameron speaking exactly of what we were just talking about, the Commonwealth. But listening to his comments, the glowing tributes, and they will continue all of this day, and some humor thrown there as well. The respect in which she's held, the admiration people around the world have for the Queen, how she never ever falters. There was that brief moment of misreading public sentiment after the death of Princess Diana. But apart from that, I mean, it is extraordinary. Duty, dedication, she's universally heralded for that.
She is, as you say, universally regarded as one of the most admired women and world leaders that we have ever known, and quite rightly. You showed earlier, Heather, the clip of her 21st birthday statement out of Cape Town, South Africa on April 21st, 1947, where she committed her life to the service of others, and that's precisely what she's done.
World leader, that's an interesting phrase because, of course, she's essentially ceremonial, a figurehead. She's not a politician. I want to bring in a picture, though, for Kevin MacLeod and for you as you watch at home. This is what the Palace has released on this day to commemorate the Queen at work in the office where she receives people for private audiences. I think you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a series of these photos released. She's there behind one of her famous red boxes, doing her work. She's as politically astute for a non-politician as you could ever imagine, right, Kevin MacLeod?
Well, precisely. As I mentioned earlier, Heather, she has personally known world leaders for 60 and 70 years. She's known them in private, she's known them in public. Her insights into world developments and how history has evolved is a resource that is truly unique in the world. She has known these people, as I say, personally. She knows what their policies were, their insights, and to have that type of resource as part of your system. We in Canada are incredibly fortunate to be a constitutional monarchy and to have this most remarkable woman as our head of state. We truly are.
So why don't we end on that point? Someone who is politically astute, who has spoken to political figures and consulted with them and spoken of many things. What impact on Canada, a country she's loved, visited more than any other country in the Commonwealth, what impact do you think she has had on this country, Kevin?
Well, I think one of the key powers of constitutional monarchy, Heather, is the stability and continuity it brings. Let's remember that this year we're marking the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta. The Crown is an unbroken line or link through our democratic process. It brings such stability to our system. And unfortunately, we take it for granted because the Crown works quietly behind the scenes. I liken it to a colorful fire extinguisher on the wall. You know it's there, it's very colorful, and it's there to be used in extreme circumstances. But unfortunately, people don't fully appreciate the Crown because it does its work so beautifully and so effectively behind the scenes. And of course, the Crown in Canada is not simply the Queen. It is His Excellency the Governor-General and, of course, our 10 Lieutenant Governors. And all of them collectively truly reflect the face of Canadian society now in the 21st century.